So what can you expect for Mexican Independence Day? What is there to do? Well, one, you don't have to be in Mexico to celebrate. I will bet somewhere near you is a Mexican Independence Day parade and activities for you to participate in, because around the world, people celebrate Mexican independence. Now, as with any holiday, it's celebrated pretty much the entire month. So in the month of September, you can see Mexico start to come alive with a lot of pride. But when is Independence Day for Mexico? If you do a quick Google search, you're gonna find Google saying that it's the 16th of September. I went into my Facebook groups, my WhatsApp groups, and I asked people what to expect for Mexican Independence Day, especially this year, because it's still a special year. And here's what I found. Depending on who you asked, some people referenced the 16th of September as the Day of Independence, whereas others referenced September 15th. It seemed like it was the locals who referenced the 15th of September as being the Independence Day. So why is that? And that's because back in 1810, on September 15th, there was a Catholic priest who got fed up with the 300 years of Spanish oppression. He essentially gathered a bunch of people and made the cry, right? The cry for independence called El Grito. And from his cry, his group of people went out and started destroying Spanish property. Now, just as with the independence of any country, making the declaration in and of itself doesn't actually create the independence, and so it did take 11 years. And so the cry happened the night of the 15th at around 11 p.m. But the celebrations and the day off of work happens on the 16th to let you relax from the cry. And so all around Mexico on the 15th of September, the president, the mayors, the governors, they go to their city of choice, they go to the top of a government building, and they ring the bell just as the original priest did, declaring independence and Mexican pride. Now, last year in most places, this was canceled because a lot of people gather to hear El Grito, and a lot of people gather for the parade that generally happens on the 16th. So we'll see. We'll see. There are rumors that it will happen. There are rumors that it won't happen this year. We'll see. Here's why I think it might happen. See these light poles?
Yeah.
They're pointing up here. See that bell?
So that's like the mayor?
I think that'll be the El Grito location. Now, with all these trees in the way, I do not know the best place to stand to see it, except here where I predict there'll be like a crazy crowd. But that's what I think those lights are for, and that bell. Now, the parade is most definitely canceled, but El Grito? I'm really not sure yet. Other things you can expect to see are lots of green, white, and red, the colors of the flag, to show their pride. And I'm telling you, from my viewpoint, it actually reminds me a little bit of Christmas. And in addition to seeing these colors on flags, on the walls, on just decorations everywhere, you can also expect to see it in the food. Now, I don't know if I was living under a rock last year, which is actually entirely possible, because it wasn't really until the end of September that lockdown started to lift in Merida. And so I had never heard of Chilean Nogada. But this year, I know all about it. Basically speaking, it is a green pepper, not spicy, cooked over a fire and then stuffed with pork and lots of fruit. And so it ends up having a really sweet flavor.
Not super sweet, it's just a little bit sweet.
Then it's covered in a white sauce made with walnuts and probably some type of cream, dairy product. And on top of that, they add, of course, the brilliant green and red colors of pomegranate and, is it basil? Ugh, I'm bad with my green garnishes, but my point is, it's a beautiful green, white, and red coloring, and I was kind of expecting something more peppery, I guess, but because of the filling being so rich in all the fruits, it ends up being quite sweet. Now, something else I learned is that every chef makes this a little bit different. And so I was expecting pretty much anywhere in San Cris that it would taste relatively similar, but I'm happy to report that it's an adventure every time. And so the first one I had was at Casa, which is a hotel, but also with a restaurant. And their Chilean Nogada was very, I'm gonna use the word distinct, meaning that every ingredient item maintained its own flavor. And so when you ate the chili, you tasted the chili. And when you were eating the fruits on the inside, you could tell which part was the raisin, which part was the apple, which part was the pear. Like each item was cooked kind of al dente, and so it retained its individual flavors. Now, the next place I tried was at a restaurant called Tuluk. And here they made it very different, I felt. It actually reminded me a lot of Christmas because they added a lot of cinnamon to it. And they also, I think, cooked the ingredients a little bit longer, creating a much more blended flavor, almost like a stew covered in that same walnut sauce with cinnamon. And this particular place, I felt was more festively decorated, and so it really reminded me of Christmas. Now, Alex is not a fan of cinnamon, so he hated it. How did you like it?
I hated it.
So if you're the same way, maybe a place like Casa would be better. Another thing we were able to do is attend a class. And so at this bookstore, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 till 1:30, there is a class for children. Morning. And it's kind of a hard class for me to fully describe. It's a very small bilingual class. Students play games, they do some arts and crafts, they just hang out with each other, and the instructor really encourages you to speak both English and Spanish. This is a class that my friend's child has been going to for a few weeks now, and Alex is really anti-classes and structure. However, this Monday we definitely went because they were going to be talking about the Mexican Independence Day, and I really wanted Alex to participate in it. So overall, while Alex still claims to never want to go to a class, he really enjoyed most of this class and was able to tell me about Independence Day afterwards, which I find kind of funny because I had been Googling about the Mexican Independence Day for a little bit now, and I've been telling him these exact same things. But of course, it is when somebody else teaches Alex that he actually retains some of that information. I think part of it is also credibility. Like at the end of the day, he knows his mother is not Mexican and I'm also not a historian. So he tends to trust the words of a local much more than me when it comes to Mexican heritage. And I mean, I really can't blame him. Did you have fun in class?
Yeah. I learned how to make this.
Yes, beautiful.
I learned a lot about Independence Day in Mexico.
There's a thing called El Grito. Apparently in Mexico City, during El Grito, like the president or something
Yes.
comes out and starts screaming Viva Mexico.
While we're talking about this class, I thought I would mention just one of the coolest parts about living in Mexico, and specifically San Cris, is the affordability of this type of class. This class cost 100 pesos per day, so for 3 hours, you pay 100 pesos, and your kid gets to learn a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of culture, practice their writing skills. Like, it's just really a cool concept, and there's no obligation. It's not like I have to pay for a month in advance. Anytime Alex is in the mood to go, I pay 100 pesos and we're good. Now, there are sometimes special occasions where extra supplies are provided, and so sometimes you might pay a little bit more. On this day, I paid 150 because just there were other supplies that had to be provided for. So no big deal. Sometimes it's 750, but basically any day your kid attends, $5 and you're good to go. And again, there's no obligation. There's no requirement that your kid goes all 3 days of the week. They can go once a month, twice a month, once a week, or every session, which obviously I recommend. And so I've asked some locals what they like to do on Independence Day, how they like to celebrate, what they like to eat, and kind of like 4th of July, honestly, what they want to do is celebrate with friends and family at home. They enjoy the talking, the laughing, they enjoy many food items that maybe I can't find at a restaurant. So as a tourist, as somebody who is not from the area, they highly recommend El Grito if it happens. Everyone seems pretty confident that the parade is not happening on Thursday. But if El Grito happens, highly recommended that I go. And they also recommend just going out, walking around, seeing the beautiful colors, the beautiful decorations, and enjoying just all the food. Highly recommended is Chilean Nogada. Again, different locations are gonna make it in a variety of different ways. And so trying out different restaurants is probably an amazing idea. But the other cuisines that seem to be, I guess, really popular in this time are the ones their grandmothers make or their friends or their families. It's the home recipes. And so it's not something that necessarily I can find at a restaurant, which makes perfect sense to me. Your favorite 4th of July barbecue is at somebody's house. It's with friends and family and made with love and pride. And it's the same way here. And so I am super curious, if you celebrate the Mexican Independence Day, how do you celebrate? Where do you celebrate? Are you in Mexico proper, or are you anywhere in the world that also celebrates? Let me know all the deets.